Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Microbiology Easy Notes. If you like this channel, please like, subscribe, comment and share. Topic of today is phytoremediation. The word phytoremediation derived from Greek word phyto means plant and Latin word remedium which means restoring balance. So phytoremediation is the technique that uses living plants to clean up contaminated water, soil and air. Actually, plants have a natural ability to absorb and detoxify pollutants. Plants break down these hazardous compounds, detoxify them, or convert them into less toxic substances. Phytoremediation is a sustainable solution for environmental cleanup. Sometimes plants team up with microbes and do this job. How phytoremediation can be implemented? There are two ways. The first way is in situ or on-site phytoremediation. Plants are grown directly in the area where contamination is present and this is the preferred method. How it is done? At the site where contamination is present, right plants are selected and planted. As the plants grow, they absorb contaminants. Inside the plants, contaminants are degraded or transformed into less toxic compounds. Contaminants can be immobilized or stabilized by plants. Over time, contaminants level decreases and soil and groundwater quality improves. Second method is ex situ or off-site implementation. In this type of implementation, contaminated water or material is brought to a constructed facility to be treated by plants. How it is done? At first, contaminated soil or water is excavated or pumped from the site. Then, contaminated material is transported to a treatment facility. After that, material is placed in a controlled system and planted with appropriate plant species. As the plants grow, they absorb, degrade, volatilize or stabilize contaminants in the soil or water. After sufficient growth, plants are harvested and disposed of further managed safely. The main difference between these two methods is in situ method there is no need for transportation of contaminated material, but in the ex situ method contaminants are taken to another place. The ex situ method is comparatively a costly method due to transportation expenses. Phytoremediation is not a single process. Plants use various biological mechanisms to treat pollutants depending on the type of contaminants and the medium. Based on that, types of mechanism are phytodegradation, rhizodegradation, phytovolatization, phytoextraction, phytostabilization, and rhizofiltration. First mechanism is phytodegradation, also known as phytotransformation. When plants break down organic contaminants through their external or internal process, it is called phytodegradation. In this method, plants may use their own enzymes or sometimes take the help of microbial enzymes. What are the steps involved in phytodegradation? First step is pollutants are absorbed by plant roots through passive diffusion or transport proteins. What is passive diffusion? Movement of molecules from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration without requiring any energy input. Then pollutants move through xylem and phloem to stem and leaves. Xylem and phloem are the specialized vascular tissues that transport water, minerals and nutrients throughout a plant. Then pollutants broken down through enzymatic processes. These processes occurs in three steps. First step is transformation, where pollutants modified through various enzymes like oxidases, reductases and hydrogenases, etc. Second step is conjugation, where modified compounds conjugated with plant biomolecules like glucose, amino acids, organic acid, etc. Third step is sequestration, in which conjugated products stored in food vacuoles or bound to cell wall. Stored products gradually converted into less toxic or non-toxic compounds and released in the environment. Plants used for phytodegradation are hybrid poplar, alfalfa and duckweed, etc. Microbes that can be helpful for phytodegradation are Arthropacter, which is excellent at breaking down persistent pesticides, Dihalococcoids, specifically helpful when trees like poplars are used to clean up chlorinated solvents. Others can be mycorrhizal fungi, Flavobacterium and Azospirillum. Common targets in phytodegradation are pesticides, hydrocarbons, and solvents. Next mechanism is rhizodegradation or rhizoremediation. Rhizodegradation is a type of phytoremediation in which microorganisms present in the rhizosphere break down harmful pollutants into less toxic substances. Rhizosphere is the soil region surrounding plant roots. In this process, plant provides the habitat and nutrients to the microbes, and microbes break down the pollutants. Rhizodegradation also helpful in treating water contamination. How it is done? Plants extend their roots into contaminated soil and create a rhizosphere. Roots secretes compounds like sugars, amino acids, organic acids, and enzymes. These root exudates serve as nutrients and stimulant for the microbes, and they multiply and colonize rapidly. Microbes produce enzymes like oxygenases and dehydrogenases that can break down organic contaminants. Through microbial processes like oxidation, reduction, or hydrolysis, pollutants convert into simpler, less toxic compounds. After complete degradation, harmless products such as carbon dioxide, water, and minerals nutrients are formed. Plants benefit from improved soil condition while microbes continue to thrive due to ongoing root exudation, sustaining the degradation process. Plants that can be helpful in rhizodegradation are grasses, alfalfa, poplar trees, willow trees, etc. Contaminants that can be treated by rhizodegradation are organic contaminants like petroleum hydrocarbon, pesticides, herbicides, and solvents. Microorganisms that can be helpful in rhizodegradation are Pseudomonas fluorescens, which degrades petroleum hydrocarbons, pesticides, and aromatic compounds, Rhidococcus erythropolis, which can be helpful in degradation of petroleum products and PHS, Bacillus subtilis that break down various organic contaminants. Next mechanism is phytovolatization. It is another phytoremediation mechanism. It involves plants converting soil and water contaminants into gases and releasing them into the atmosphere through their leaves. This often results in less toxic products. What are the steps involved in phytovolatization? The first step is plants absorb contaminants from soil or groundwater through their roots. Then the contaminants move upward through plant's vascular system, which is xylem and phloem. Then inside the plant through various metabolic processes like reduction or methylation, contaminants are detoxified. Then the transformed compounds are released into the atmosphere as gases via leaf stomata. Stomata are like pores present on the leaf's surface. High transpiration rate plants are used in this process so that they can extract large volumes of water and contaminants. Here are some examples of plants used in phytovolatization: willow tree, Indian mustard, and canola, etc. Pollutants that can be treated by phytovolatization are mercury, that can be converted into elemental mercury vapor, selenium, converted to volatile forms like dimethylselenite, and organic pollutants like trichloroethylene. Next process is phytoextraction or phytoaccumulation. In this mechanism, plants remove contaminants from environment and concentrate them in above ground plant tissue. Phytoextraction is primarily employed to remove heavy metals and some organic compounds. What is the process? First, the plant's roots absorb water and dissolve metals from the contaminated soil. Then these metals are transported upwards through the plant's vascular system along with water and nutrients. Then metals are stored in the shoots and leaves of plants. Then once the plant is full of metals, it is harvested and removed from the site. After that, plants can be disposed as hazardous waste or purified to recover valuable metals through a process called phytomining. Some example of plants used for phytoextraction process. The first is alpine pancreas, which accumulates zinc and cadmium; Indian mustard, which helps in accumulation of lead, selenium, and chromium; Chinese breakfern, which accumulates arsenic. Next mechanism is phytostabilization. The goal of phytostabilization is not to remove the contaminants but to immobilize them in place, reducing their bioavailability and preventing them from spreading into the environment. How does it work? Plant types are selected for low accumulation of a pollutant. As plants grow, the dense root system of plants physically stabilizes the soil and prevents erosion by wind or rain. Plant roots absorb contaminants and store them strictly within the root system and do not allow contaminants to travel up into the shoots and leaves. Plants releases exudates that precipitate heavy metals into the form of less soluble non-toxic substances. These compounds bind to soil particles and remain there. Some example of plants that can be used for phytostabilization process: vetiver grass, switchgrass, elderberry, and pine tree. Contaminants that can be treated by phytostabilization: wind-blown dust, heavy metals, and radioactive metals present in soil and water. Next mechanism is rhizofiltration. Removal of contaminants from water through absorption, adsorption, or precipitation onto plant roots is known as rhizofiltration. How does it work? Water contaminated from heavy metals and radioactive elements treated by rhizofiltration. First, plants are placed in contaminated area and roots are allowed to grow. Root surface absorb contaminants present in the water. Adsorb means to collect on a surface. Some pollutants enter into root system by absorption and reach to root tissues. Absorb means to take a substance inside or soak it up. With time, pollutants accumulate into root cell wall and food vacuoles. Once roots are full of contaminants, plants are harvested and water becomes clean. Plants used for rhizofiltration are sunflower, water hyacinth, Indian mustard, and glasswort, etc. And contaminants that can be treated by rhizofiltration are heavy metals like lead, cadmium, and chromium, radioactive metals like uranium, cesium, strontium, etc. There is another mechanism known as phytodesalination. It is a less common form of phytoremediation. When there is too much amount of salt present in soil, this method is used. Salt-tolerant plants known as halophytes are employed to extract excess amount of sodium and chloride ions from the site. How does it work? First, halophytes are planted where excess amount of salt is present. It can be water or soil. As the plant grows, they absorb high volumes of sodium or chloride from surrounding. Excess salt travel up to leaf surfaces where it can be rinsed away or manually removed. Then the plants are harvested and removed from the site. The harvested biomass can be composted, used for biofuel, or incinerated to dispose of salt safely. Plants used for phytodesalination are sesbania, saltgrass, sueda, etc. And now, what are the applications of phytoremediation? Phytoremediation can remove organic contaminants from the environment. It can also remove inorganic contaminants. Lands where waste is disposed can be treated by phytoremediation. Wetlands like marshes, swamps, or mangroves can be restored by phytoremediation. It can also remove fly ash. Coal fly ash is one of the major air and land pollution constituents. Phytoremediation is a practical and cheap way for revegetation of fly ash dump sites. Advantages of phytoremediation: it is eco-friendly, cost-effective, improves soil quality, it prevents soil erosion, it is suitable for large area treatment, solar-driven process, and it causes minimal environmental disturbance. Disadvantages of phytoremediation: it is a slow process that requires months or years for cleanup. Phytoremediation is a climate-dependent process because plant growth depends on weather and seasons. Phytoremediation is not effective for all pollutants, as some toxic chemicals cannot be treated efficiently. The fear that contaminants can enter food chain is always there because animals may consume contaminated plants. After remediation process, plants require safe disposal, otherwise they can further contaminate the other site. This slide shows differences among all the mechanisms. You can pause the video and check it.